Okay. All right, everybody. It's been long overdue. Man, boy, I am excited right now. Well, first off, it's your boy Lil L, and this is the Synch Network Podcast. I'm your host. I am the MC. I am the DJ. I'm everything. And I have special guest. This man doesn't need any introduction.
Spill my water.
Any introduction. I mean, hey man, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm fanning out right now because this man right here, whoo, boy, it's my favorite rapper right here. This is Moyboichipsahoy.
Wow, man. That's one hell of an introduction, I'll tell you.
Man, I mean, first off, man, how you doing, Moy?
I'm okay. I'm wearing basketball shorts, so I'm comfy. I'm not even sitting on a chair. I'm sitting on a little desk. My computer's on a desk, and I'm sitting on a smaller desk. And this was the only way I can do it so that I'm proportionate to the camera. Because otherwise, I'd be like down here with it.
Yeah, you spit this water out.
Yeah, I'm okay, man. How are you?
I'm great. I'm glad to be off work. I was thinking about this the whole time. Work was moving so slow. I was like, man, can I just get out of here? So I'm glad that I'm out and I could be relaxed. I changed my clothes, all that. I said, listen, I'm finna have my change clothes, everything. I said, man, we about to have it. But man, I'm excited, man. Man, first thing we're gonna get into this. We see here at the Synch Era Podcast, Synch Era Network Podcast. Listen, we don't do interviews. We have conversations. Okay,
That's
we have conversations. We want to make it seem that if you get interviewed or if I'm just talking to you solely as the host, it's a conversation. We don't want to say, now I do got some questions that probably are similar to the basic questions, but we want people to actually, who are being interviewed or who are listening, to feel like they are involved in the conversation.
Yeah, we want to engage people.
Exactly. And we are going straight to it. So, I mean, I got some questions for you, and boy, it's about to be a vibe. So,
well, I'll just say, if it feels like I'm being a little awkward, it's just because I'm not used to this whole face on camera thing. So I keep looking to my right. It's because my screen is really little, like above your head to the right. So I just keep looking at myself because it's weird to see myself. But yeah, I'm gonna try my best to engage and get people engaged, and I'll try looking at you and not looking at my mop of hair.
Hey, it's okay. Just be you, Moy. You already know how we do. But where did it all start, man? Where did it all start?
Like, what do you mean? Like also,
I would say the journey of, because you have a background of poetry, and the thing about it is, like, a lot of people they are interested in, I would say, people are interested in the rap and all that stuff like that and the performance, but a lot of people don't even know how it started, and I want to know, how did it start, from whether it don't even matter. I'm talking about the whole artistry, from poetry to rap. Like, where did it start from? Like, where did that inspiration, where did it come from? Or just where did it start, period?
damn, dude. I mean, I gotta think. That's a good question. I think it really started back in school when, I mean, this is going to be bits and pieces, but it started, you know, you learn about the Edgar Allan Poes and the Robert Frost and all that kind of traditional shit.
Mhm.
And I was always an emotional kid, you know, like I would always be in situations where if the girl I was with broke up with me, it'd be the end of the world and like whatever the fuck. And,
Mhm.
you know, just things like that. And like, I had a kind of somewhat rough upbringing, not as bad as like some people, but like it wasn't always perfect in my household. So I needed an outlet, and I would kind of try to rip off these traditional poets while also trying to rip off any band I was listening to at the time. And I wrote a lot of really shitty poems. Then I joined a poetry class at my school, and I learned eventually about spoken word poetry, which is something that people don't teach you in school. And in school, you learn that poetry is supposed to be very rhyme scheme based, which is fine. That is a form of poetry, but it's not the extent. And I don't like that that's the extent of what they show you within school.
Mhm.
Um, because poetry is like music. It's got its multi genres within itself, and the fact that we're only teaching students a certain part of it is a little bit disheartening. Um, so yeah, man, I started doing poetry. I started writing a lot of shitty poems, and eventually these shitty poems turned into less shitty poems, and eventually these less shitty poems turned into somewhat good poems. And I joined a poetry slam at my school, and I won it. And ever since, it felt like a drug. I felt like I couldn't not perform. Something about it felt natural. It felt right. And I'm very good at acting sad on stage. I'm very good at playing sad little bitch boy. So, yeah, I won. I think I joined like 12 poetry slams, and I think I only lost like two, maybe three, but I'm pretty sure it was two. So I was pretty good. And I say that humbly. I'm just very proud of what I've achieved. And this being said, I was going up against some really, really phenomenal poets within the NWI. So I could not process the fact that I won any of that shit because I'm like
Mhm.
me, like the art bum himself. I just crawled out of the dumpster and came here and I somehow won. No, it was a good time. And from there I think I had been writing music for a little bit, but I never really took it that seriously.
Mhm.
And I remember I was an outcast in school, so of course, I mean, I've said this story millions of times, outcast this and outcast that, but
Mhm.
I was an outcast in school, library during lunch. My friend Josh, aka Star of the Covenant, would write stupid sexual raps about SpongeBob, and yeah, I don't know. I never intended to take it seriously, which is why my rap name's Moyboichipsahoy. It's a pretty ridiculous name. Um, and then I started writing serious raps, and no one really gave a fuck for a while. And then people did latch on, and they're like, "Hey, your raps are cool, but you should stick to the poetry." And me having a very punk mentality, I was like, "Oh, you want me to do just this one area of art? Fuck you! I'm going to drop this area of art completely now, and I'm going to go
Right.
do this instead because." You know, the whole Rage Against the Machine, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Um, and yeah, so just I don't know, man. I definitely need to balance my shit out more. That's me going into that with some detail and very no detail. And I guess as you ask questions, I'll further myself because that was kind of a mess of an explanation.
Oh no,
But yeah,
it was right where I guess it need to fall where it need to be. So like because
yeah,
I think about like I think about a series. See, people they want to see like people they want to look at the movie, but the series of a person or like a story like a TV or web series breaks it down even more
yeah,
because as how I think about it, it's like I'm thinking of as you were saying that like a segment, like a whole probably 2 seasons on just how you got to the poetry or the things that happened before high school. I mean, during high school, before you even put the pen to the pad on the for poetry, and then actually the poetry competitions, and then when you first started writing a good poem, and then afterwards, then like because I think about it, people don't understand it is levels to this. it is levels and segments to this. This don't just come overnight. See, people think it don't come overnight, because as you doing the poems and you're researching, you're breaking down that formula. You know what I'm saying? You're breaking down that formula, and you're allowing that formula to to create itself.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like not everybody is born with natural talent all at once. I guess some people are. Some people can sing opera at their first attempt. But I wasn't born like a great writer. Like a lot of my younger years were spent trying to wear my influences on my sleeve. Which it's okay to drive inspiration from your influences, but when you're completely ripping it off, that's where it's just kind of like you need to write your own shit. So for a while it was me wearing those influences on my sleeve, and I had to develop that writing skill, and I had to develop that voice, and I had to develop not being monotone while reading or rapping or performing. So it is definitely something you build up over time for some people, and I just kind of got to a point within it where I'm like, I can never go back. This is the standard that I need to live up to, because I want to make sure every piece I make is impactful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I definitely agree. It's so funny because some of these questions you already answered already. Like, so basically, as far as we're gonna take it back a little bit. So we're gonna take it back. How was it growing up for you? As far as like, before the music, like how was like that scenery? Like, we talking about like, we ain't talking about Moyboichipsahoy, we talking about Moises. Like, we talking about how was that growing up before the music hit, because a lot of people, of course, the poetry and the music, but a lot of people may not even know, like, before the music hit, what was the life like, So, tell me about how it was growing up.
Well, it's very hard to go into everything as we know, detail. You and me, we can talk an hour for like, we could talk on the phone. I'm stumbling.
It's all right.
Hours.
Man.
But it's very different when we have this camera in front of us. It's hard
of course.
And really think straight at all times. But yeah, I guess like if I had to think of pinpoints of growing up, like I can't complain as far as I had a mom and dad, I always had a roof over my head. If I needed food, it was there. But I think it's just more so like there were things that happened within my life that were impactful, and that led to me making the style of music that I make, which is usually very I don't want to call it depressing, but touching on sad subjects. And like a really harsh moment in my life was when my brother murdered a man and went to prison. And to have that kind of like that guide in your life, which wasn't very much of a guide now grown up. But in that time, it was like, this is my brother, I looked up to him, like he has the heart of a lion, like he is my everything. And then for that to be pried away from you because he made a stupid decision without you in thought, it was impactful. And, my father having very rough hands, and that saying that he wasn't always the most affectionate, and I couldn't always talk to my father about things. Mm-hmm. And he was very like money oriented, like when are you gonna make money, when are you gonna get a job, rather than hey, how are you, what are you doing, what's your art like, And then my mom just being a very old school brainwashed like Mexican lady who like just follows my dad at every move, and it's almost like he has her on a leash and she's like a little kid. And so I did develop a greater sense of like, I need my own way of thinking. I need a life beyond this, because if I stay within these confines, I'm going to go to a point of literal insanity, which I've gone into and come out of many times. Because, the people you surround yourself with, if they're not the best, you will go crazy. and especially because they're my family, you know, like I'm not saying you can't get away from family, but I personally can't get away from family. And I love them and I know they love me. But yeah, there was a lot of points within these people that have kind of developed me, and also just kind of like, because I didn't have this comfort at home, I tried finding this comfort within other people instead of trying to find that comfort within myself. So that's why when I would get into these relationships with girls, I would make them my whole world, you know, and I would live inside of them. And when it didn't work out, it almost felt like I felt like rejected again. Like I was already an outcast, and I felt like I found my one person that's going to save me, like this romantic, dumb comedy that doesn't exist. And it just doesn't work out, and I'm alone again. And when I'm alone, bad things happen, and this leads to suicide attempts, and this leads to, you know, laying on the couch, not showering for weeks, and throwing up constantly because I can't eat, and you know, just a bunch of things, man. And yeah, I'm I'm looking way too deep within myself. I'm literally just being indulgent at this point. But yeah, there was a lot of having everything within my household: a roof, food, a family, but at the same time not having anything at all, because although I had all those things, it didn't amount to anything because there was no love within it, or no actual like validation, rather. Because I know my parents love me, I know my family loves me, but there was no validation, there was no "you're doing well," there was no, you know, keep doing what you're doing. It was just me trying to find a home as far away from home as possible.
And that's deep, and like, you know, like that's deep, and like, and for everybody to know that's watching this, like, you know, me and, you know, me and Moy, we are very, 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 very good friends. So it's like, you know, the thing
For
about
sure.
it is like, with this interview, there is no acting here. Like this is as real as it gets. There's no acting. There's like this is like this is legit. You know, so when you getting this is legit. And the reason why I'm starting off by saying this with this next question is, as far as with all that, like you said, because I'm leaning into something, right? You know, I like to lean into stuff, but I'm leaning into this right here. How important from all of that is that catharsis with yourself, whether it be poetry or in song. How from everything that you said, how important is that catharsis? Because for me, that catharsis, it's like meditation. Because if man, you know, like, like if for instance, like if just, you know, I'm working harder and I'm getting some negativity from whether it be, you know, relatives or anything like that, like I need to like I need to really, that catharsis is me talking to myself and motivating myself and having like a conference with myself, like with my conscience, to, you know, to get through, to, you know, level my brain. So like, how important is that catharsis to yourself?
Well, I mean, catharsis is vomit to me. And as you know, vomit is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like there is no other way for me to write. Um, a lot of people can be very formulaic. You know, they can really think of every specific syllable at every specific time, every specific signature, every specific whatever. And that's just not a factor for me. Like, sure, there's a formula once the product is out. Sure, you can dissect it, you can find the formula, you can find like, oh, hey, he like changed the flow here and it came back here. But it was never like, it's never an intentional thought of like, let me write this song like this. It's never like that. It's always like, I'm going to sit down and whatever's going to come out is going to come out. I'm going to open my skull up and I'm going to vomit on my Google Doc of a canvas, and whatever it is what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's never a formula. Sure, you can dissect the formula, but it's never in mind while I'm making it. Catharsis is me finding what I need within myself to be released. And I don't know.
I felt that.
I don't write in any way that's not messy. You can look through my notebooks and there's nothing coherent about it. And I just don't know any other way to go about it. I never wrote in a way to forcefully try to resonate. Rather, I wrote in a way to talk about what I needed to talk about. And if people resonated with it later, it was just coincidental, So it's very for myself, and it's very indulgent. I indulge a lot within art. So it's got to hit me. And if it doesn't, it's not going to be done. So yeah, that's catharsis for me, man. It's just me. It's me in a room alone with myself, dissecting myself and seeing what's next.
Man. All right. So my next question to you is this. All right.
I got for you.
Oh, you got a question for me?
Yeah.
All right. What's up?
How are you such a genius?
Oh,
also,
my goodness.
How are you the best human being alive? Also, how are you from outer space, but you can breathe human air? Also, I'll stop there.
Look, this is about you today. This is not about me. This is about you today, man.
You are about me. You're my family.
We'll do that on another day. We'll do that on another day. Nah, today it's all about you, brother. It's all about you. But okay. So transitioning to rap, how because like the thing about it is, all right, I'm gonna try. I got this crazy analogy in my head, but just bear with me. But like, all right, you went from poetry to winning awards. Whew! Winning awards. I've seen the video. I seen, man, look, I seen the video. I seen when you was, performing those poems in front of people and all that stuff. And of course, there's the story that you told me. And like, how in the world did you be able to transition to transfer from going from poetry? Now, I know some people like, L, why is you overreacting? Like, rap is poetry too, but no, we talking about the formula. We talk about the mechanics, sure. All that, because I don't know if you know this artist, but it's an artist called No Name, which she did the same thing as you. I think I told you she did the same thing as you, which was she was in the Chicago area, but you basically close to the Chicago area, but but she transitioned from poetry to rap. And and I think she could sing too, but she transitioned from that, and I could hear it in her mechanics as well. But we ain't talking about. I'm sorry, No Name. I appreciate you. We ain't talking about No Name. We talking Moyboichipsahoy.
Shout out No Name though.
Shout out No Name. No disrespect, sweetie. I like your music, but anyway. So, but how was that? Because you got all these different. Because come on, the rhyme scheme, stanzas, all that first stanza, second stanza, rhyme patterns, and you put that to the rap. Tell me about it.
Well, I mean, it's similar, but it's different. It's night and day. I feel like rappers get away with being grimy a lot more, and that doesn't translate as well within poetry. Mm-hmm. Mike Over said once, and he described it perfectly, because I always tell people that when I'm rapping, it's like I'm slitting my wrist metaphorically on stage, and I'm gonna get blood on your shirt. So he told me that it's like, well, if for me rapping is slitting my wrist and getting blood on people, poetry is me crying on stage and getting my tears on people. And the tears is just a lot more, that's more of a fragile thought. And the blood thing is more of threatening thought. So Yeah, Moyboichipsahoy is literally me turned up times 10. As far as I say a lot of things in my raps that I wouldn't say in my poetry. Because my poetry, I'm trying to invoke a point of hope. And my raps, I'm trying to invoke point of intrusive thoughts. Um, and intrusive thoughts, are very fucked up thoughts, as you know, that usually don't see the light of day. And for me, it's letting it see the light of day. Um, so I say a lot of things that I don't necessarily mean, but that I think, and that's very angry and spiteful because we as humans have a destructive and a constructive side to us. And the poetry is me letting that constructive side out, and the rap is me letting that destructive side out. So while the rap is destroying the city, the poetry is trying to rebuild it.
Man, you don't even know right now. You actually spitting bars, boy. You spitting bars. But I see what you're saying, because like this is what I found, and y'all pay attention, because I'm a student of Moy's. Like I'm like I really pay attention to this. Like I look at this like seriously, and like, man, first thing is, I'm gonna be honest, man. You inspired me to break out of the shell of like, I wouldn't say happy music, because at the time it's sad and it's mellowed and it's up there and it's not. But you inspired me to take that, I guess, to break the ice, to break the glass, because it was times I was afraid to really and I know what it was. I was afraid to really grow and to tell that truth. Like when I first heard your music, I'm not gonna lie, it shocked me because you was blatantly just saying it how it was, and I'm looking like, did he just say that? Like, I mean,
They don't like the truth because it
don't shine. Like, but for real though, this dog, can you hear that dog bark? I'm sorry, y'all, this dog bark. We're gonna ignore that. But no, like, it's a thing of, it's the truth, but it don't shine. Like basically, like, you're exposing the obvious psychology of a human mind. And the thing about it is, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And the thing about it is, it's like a lot of people just lean into that. Like they lean into it. Like they say bits and pieces, but they not going directly at it. Like they just walking, but they not just hitting the nail on the head. And not just that, but you're saying things that a lot of people would want to say, but they're not gonna say because they're afraid of, oh, I'm offensive. Oh, my music is not gonna sell. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to be the marketing. I'm not gonna be able to market myself. And like, I mean, like you said, like growing up being a punk kid, but like something like that take guts.
Well, I'll tell you what that attributes to. And it's I mean, of course it comes down to like a lot of the metal music I listen to, which is very honest, and metal music is known to be like very dark in theme. Like for example, I mean, this is a really dumb example and a very mainstream example, but like Slipknot said, I want to slit your throat and fuck the wound, which is like, that's something, not that my lyrics are reflective of that necessarily, because I don't talk about killing people or anything, but metal is known to be very honest, or at least very straightforward, and just say whatever the fuck you want. And rap, I feel like rap and metal go hand in hand as far as it's both truth, aggression. And they're both the most punk styles of music, outside of like, I guess, punk, but punk isn't really punk anymore. But yeah, so I feel like as far as rappers go, this is a bad example too, because I'm not really a fan of his music anymore. But say throw out an Eminem, even though he's like the biggest rapper in the world or whatever. The first Marshall Mathers LP, he did not give a fuck. You know, he was saying whatever the hell he wanted to say. He literally had a song called Kim that was about him killing his ex-wife.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm not saying that I support that message necessarily, but Eminem did not give a fuck whatsoever, and he's considered the biggest rapper in the world. You know,
Mhm.
and Tyler the Creator does not give a fuck, and he won a Grammy for Igor, which was long overdue in my opinion. If it was up to me, he would have won a Grammy since Wolf, but that's just me. But yeah, Tyler the Creator has never given a fuck. He's always said what he wanted to say, and that was always brave to me, and especially because I have anxiety, and growing up it was a lot worse, and I did not know how to control it. So I was afraid for a while of like, what if what I say is too far and it gets misconstrued and I'm looked like as an asshole? And then I'm like, no, that's the point. I want to be the asshole. I want to be the antagonist. That is my job on stage, to be the antagonist, to make a crowd uncomfortable. So misconstrued or not, it's polarizing. It's going to be polarizing. I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm trying to say. I know that within the seams, you can tell what I'm trying to say if you read into it. And if you don't know what I'm trying to say, my music isn't for you because you can't dissect it. And I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love anyone to listen to it. It's not like I'm making music just for a certain crowd of people. Like any person that listens to it, whether you're listening to it for the catchy factor or the lyrical factor, I appreciate the listen regardless. But I do appreciate the listener who dissects further on a deeper level, because you really understand what I'm getting at. Because yes, I make songs that can be listened to on a catchy level. I make songs that you can bob your head to. Of course, it's music at the end of the day. I don't want it to be poetry part two. It's supposed to be music, you know? So at the end of the day, I am trying to make a catchy tune you can bob your head to. But at the same time, I want people to know what the fuck I'm saying, because I work very hard to make sure my lyrics are well done. Like yesterday, dude, there was a guy named Gabriel, and he walked in the middle of me practicing for my set. I was at my brother's house and we were practicing for the set for the show we have on the 9th, Floral Fever 2, October 9th,
shout out,
at the Coffee House, Cedar Lake, 4 to 8 p.m. Headliners, Lowell and me, and also featuring the Black Einstein and Hobo Jesus later in the night. Yeah, there was a guy named Gabriel. He was watching me perform my set, and towards, like, he was just really into it. And the whole time I'm just thinking to myself, like, I'm nervous because I'm like, oh, new person I've never met. I hope I sound good. So, you know, I was giving it like maybe 90% before he walked in, and then he showed up and I started giving it 110% because I wanted to give a good impression. And he was really into it. And then I started doing some of my slower songs at the end, and he just started crying, man. And he started telling me how he had just gotten out of the hospital for like depression and stuff like that. And I hugged him, as sweaty as I was. He still embraced me, and he just told me, like, dude, like, I was really listening to what you were saying, and I couldn't help but bawl. And I'm just like, dude, you are my people. Like, you're my people. Because you know, it's very hard to get people our age to invest and to really comprehend lyrics. A lot of people will only listen to an artist for their biggest hit over the project with what the biggest hit is within. And that's depressing to me, because I don't want to live in a world where albums become irrelevant, and as long as you have a song with enough bars and catchy hooks, that's all you need. I want to bring back an era of time in which buying CDs was the cool thing to do, and collecting was the cool thing to do. And instead of just having it on your phone, you get to actually read within the pamphlet of the booklet the lyrics, and you know, look at the cool picture that they put on the CD, and like dissecting like all corners of, you know, like it's like little details like that. Like why own it on your phone where you can only have the album cover and the word and the title of the tracks when you can have that and more within a CD, you know, and it's just more exciting to listen to it that way, in my opinion. So I don't know. That's just my,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. You know,
I don't even know what the question was anymore. I was just.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We having a conversation. We're not having an interview. We're having a conversation.
Yeah, you're right.
Having a conversation. All right. So I think the next question is, all right. So basically, how did you gain your fan base?
How did I get my fan base?
Yeah, how did you gain it? Because I mean, you know what? More in terms of this. Let me ask it a different way. All right, so you're writing, you know, everything like that. I know we skipped the parts. We're gonna have a part 2 to this though. You know, we're just getting them introduced. We're gonna go down deeper and, you know, different stuff. But because it, like I said, you know, I'd rather have the series than the movie because the series break it down. But we're gonna jump hurdles a little bit. As far as the fan base, like, all right, so basically, from my research and what you've told me, you know, you went from, you know, of course, you know, coffee houses and performing to where, you know, people didn't, you know, little to no people or whatever like that, you know, also being nervous to perform. And we're going to get into that performance too. That performance, oh my good. Woo! That performance, fire, boy. Woo, boy, fire. Man, y'all gotta see Moy live, bro. Like y'all even watching Moy's performances on YouTube, I still feel like I could just jump into the screen, like for real, like honestly. But like, how did you, you know, gain your following? So, you know, especially in the, you know, the NWI area.
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, well, I mean, poetry was the start of it. Like I said, I won a lot of competitions, and I feel like that's what kind of keeps my name in the air. The fact that I did win a lot of competitions and I was in the public eye for a hot little minute. And whenever there was a poetry slam, people would assume that I would be there. And they would really be intimidated by the fact that I would be there. Yeah, that's where I got the very public eye thing as far as like the NWI, like, I'll put it like this. I was in the Purdue air for a while, like Purdue the school, because I won a competition through them 2 years in a row. And it's kind of funny to me. I feel bad about this kind of, but I kind of don't at the same time. The first like serious poetry slam I was part of was hosted at this gallery that was owned by Purdue. It was the Chess Gallery. And it was for Black History Month. I obviously am not Black. And I also am not the best person to talk about Black history. But this being said, I didn't join it because I was like, oh, let me like steal the show. Like my teacher suggested it to me. And I told her, am I even qualified for this? Isn't this about a specific subject? I'm just a kid that writes about depression and anxiety, you know, like I don't know if I'm qualified for this, and I'm not trying to waste anyone's time. This seems like a very important subject that has nothing to do with me aside from me just being there to watch. And she said, no, it's open to anything. It's just prominently about Black history because it's Black History Month, but you can still go and you can still perform. So I wanted to make sure. I called in and I was like, hey, I'm a weird emo kid who talks about his feelings. Can I come and do this? And they were like, yeah, that's fine. We're not restricting anyone from talking about what they want to talk about. And I won the damn thing. And I felt kind of bad because I'm like, this isn't really fair. Or I don't know what it was. I was like, I don't understand. I'm not even talking about the main subject that people are mainly here for. So I felt kind of bad, and I felt a little bit disrespectful, and I just didn't know how to feel. And then they asked they come back next year. And I was like, y'all really want to take this L again? Because if I won last year, I'm a lot better this year. And I actually got my shit memorized this time, so.
Oh man.
No, but I'm not. That wasn't actually my thought process. I was just being funny. But yeah. I came back and they were like, there was so much whisper within the crowd, like that's the guy from last year, and I won it again.
Oh.
But yeah, so yeah, a lot of my name being plastered around the NWI is from poetry. And also just like outside of the poetry, like I said, like I did lose a following after the poetry because there were people that were strictly there for the poems, but then I gained an audience. You know, whenever you lose an audience, you always gain an audience, and it's always a different kind of audience a lot of the time. So I gained an audience of people who liked rap music and even people who liked both, because they heard poetry within my rap music, and then they researched me enough to find the actual poetry, and they're like, okay, well, I universally fuck with this guy. So I'm trying to regain what I was trying to say. Yeah, so I was known as the poetry guy for a while. That's really good at performing and invoking emotion, making people cry or whatever. And then I turned into the crazy rapper performance guy that rolls around on the floor and sweats on everyone and yells at everyone and is a maniac on stage. So yeah, it's kind of a cool little thing because I don't have the biggest following, of course. I'm primarily known within the Hammond area and within the Cedar Lake area, and I guess like somewhat the Crown Point area. So like, you know, not the biggest following ever. I don't have a worldwide following. I'm probably not even known in Chicago in the slightest, maybe just by a few, if anything. But I am known in the area, and it's, like I said, attributed to me being a very, I say this humbly, but I also say this with pride. I'm a good performer, and I know this. I know.
Oh yeah,
you know,
that's facts.
That's not me trying to be cocky. I know I'm good at performing. I've built up my craft. I used to not be a performer, and I now it's second nature to me. I'm just good at what I do. So yeah, it's a cool little thing where either people know about me or they've at least heard about me from word of mouth, or they've seen me somewhere and they have been wanting to check me out, or they can't stand me, or you know, they hear my name and they're like, what the fuck is a Moyboichipsahoy? And then as that was Mike Over's story. Somebody brought up Mike Over, by the way, everybody. One of my favorite people.
Excellent.
He lives in the Cedar Lake area. He's a very beautiful human being. He hosts an open mic every Friday and Saturday. Friday at Cedar Lake and Saturday at Crown Point at SIP Coffee Houses 1 and 2. So, you know, if you want further information, check it out. Follow him, Mike Over, MIC.space OVER, Mike Over. He's on Spotify and everything. I feature in some of his songs.
Check that out.
I give him a plug. That's my dude. But yeah, Mike Over. The first show I put together was in my parents' home because they were in Mexico and I had the house to myself, and it was supposed to be in the backyard, but it rained, so it was muddy. So I did it inside, and it was with. I'm not going to get into that.
Go ahead, just keep going.
No, that's not me trying to be like.
No, just keep going. It's okay.
That's not me trying to be spiteful. I just, you know, I don't know.
We know.
Yeah. So, but you know, if he watches this and he knows, you know, I wish you the best, and I got love for you. You know, you're very talented. We're just not on very good speaking terms. But I was doing a show, and this guy named Troy came with his brother Noah and Kevin, aka Rhett Rhapsody. Follow Rhett Rhapsody. And Yeah, they heard me. I kind of sucked, but I was kind of good at the same time. Like I was good as far as what I was doing. The presentation was like decent, but like I didn't have as much movement as I did. I wasn't as comfortable as I was. It was just a very basic house show full of rappers, and I was not the best at performing yet. But like I said, my words were powerful, and they liked it. You know, they thought it was cool. And then Troy told Mike Over, "You need to do a song with Moyboichipsahoy." And then Mike Over was like, "What the fuck is a Moyboichipsahoy?" And then he looked me up, and then he followed me, and I followed him, and then he released his first album, Like Mike, and I shared it eventually because I listened to it, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's cool. He's very good." And yeah, eventually he asked me to be on his song Farewell, and he really liked my feature. And then, you know, me and him started hanging out, and it's been history ever since. I love that motherfucker. And I want to give him a very fragile, soft kiss on the forehead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next question. Now we hitting the nail on the head with these questions. So I have to ask now. This is not this is not a negative question. Just to put a disclaimer out for everybody out there, you know, as watching or you know that's part of this, you know, society. But how is the Hammond or the Northwest Indiana area as far as I see what you're smiling about. That's why I made this disclaimer. I see what you're smiling about. I already know. I already know. But let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase it because I know you. How is because I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go in like this, you know, because I know I know. But the thing about it is, right, as you know, I got introduced, you know, to the Hammond area or the Northwest Indiana area, NWI. The thing really that got me was it was a lot of talented individuals, a lot in all forms. We're not just talking about artists, people. We're not just talking about rappers. We're not just talking about singers. We talk about painters. We talking about poets. We talking sculptors. We talking about, you know, all of this, instrumentalists, people that just play, like we talk about all of this, you know, and like it just reminded me because I'm like a person, you know, I'm an old soul, you know, I believe you know, I could have hanged with people in the 70s, 60s, 80s, and 90s. I'm an old soul. And so like a lot of stuff like this area, this reminds me of like, you know, like a resurgence, like not like I would say a renaissance of new art, you know, rejuvenation of people that you know that are creative in their element. And so like, you know, how would you living in the area, how as you living there, how do you feel about it? How will you describe this Northwest Indiana area, especially with the artists and the everything? I'm trying to be serious. But for real, like, how would you describe that as far as the art? We talk about art here.
I'll put it like this, and I'm gonna speak more than just the art. But
okay, go ahead, do whatever you want to do. Do whatever. It don't matter. Do whatever.
This question is uncomfortable, but I like the fact that it's uncomfortable because there needs to be uncomfortable questions. I feel there needs to be questions that aren't the basic how did you get your name, you know. Not saying that that's a bad question,
yeah,
to ask how someone got their name, but like when it's already in like 20 different interviews, you know.
Yeah,
but I figure if I already wrote a song about this subject, I might as well speak on it indirectly because I'm not trying to put people out there. I'm not trying to put names out there. I'm not trying to get people more angry at me than they already are and more angry than they probably will be once I put out this song. But I came out of school lonely, without any friends besides 2 or 3. I was always looked at as a weird kid. I was always looked at as the outcast. And I won a bunch of competitions, and I started going to art galleries, and I found a tribe of people, and I love these people, and I still love these people, and it hurts that I love these people. Um, but a lot of the NWI scene, not speaking for everyone, very talented individuals.
Hmm.
You know, there's a lot of very good ones, and I'm only speaking on a select, which the select is a handful of people, like a good amount, but also not discrediting the good people that are within it. And that's not me trying to put myself on a high horse and be like, I'm going to decide who is the good and who is the bad. But
Right.
I try to keep my nose out of trouble. And the only time I get into trouble is when people are just offended by me telling the truth about a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love people, man. I love hard and I love deeply, and I try to take care of people as best as I can. And a lot of the time, people try to take that as judgment, but sometimes you need to give people tough love. Um, and it hurts, and I want to cry just talking about this. Um, but a lot of the scene is jaded. A lot of the scene is drunk. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the scene is not the best to be around. It's very toxic. There's a lot of misogyny. There's just a lot of indulgence, and I can't be fully mad because I know people deal with things differently,
Mm-hmm.
and I know people in this scene are very emotionally fragile, just as I am. And I know not everybody can be constructive with how they deal with their feelings. And I know a lot of people go to a bottle for healing. But at the same time, there is an extent of where I don't agree with this, but this doesn't mean we have to stop being friends just because I don't personally drink or do anything. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, when decisions are being made within that bottle where you're doing things that aren't right, and you're doing things like disrespecting women or disrespecting human beings or just being a destructive force within the scene, I will not tolerate you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very honest. And like I said, I am that I don't give a fuck guy within my raps, and that
Mm-hmm.
translates into Moy when it needs to. And yeah, I've lost a lot of friends.
Mm-hmm.
I love them, and it hurts that I love them, and they are so talented. But something at some point happened, and things are different. And I've lost a lot of friends. But the NWI scene is brilliant. It's great, man. There's variety, and people are generally accepting.
Mm-hmm.
But people need to stop being assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're watching this right now, you need to stop being a fucking asshole. And I love you.
Well, whoo, boy, it's going crazy. Boy, NC Air, boy, and I'm gonna say this to all the people, like, and I'm gonna say this to you too, Moy, like, and I was, I definitely, and we're gonna keep it in. I'm gonna say this, we're gonna keep it real here on the podcast. We're not finna sugarcoat nothing. We're gonna say, because it needs to be said, as far as whatever topics we talk about, because this is for this NSYNC era. This is for the movement. This is for the new age renaissance of artists. This we what we are creating is a platform, and for that platform, you have to have strong individuals to start it off. If you don't have a foundation, it's gonna break. You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
go ahead.
Sorry, keep going.
No, and it's gonna break. But go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean you need oh shit.
It's
Sorry
all right.
about
It's all right.
my friend was trying to call me. Yeah, I mean you definitely need a foundation. And I feel like that's why within Synch Era, I feel like that's why it is within you and I,
Mm-hmm.
because we do have that strong foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sorry, I think someone's coming down. I don't know. But yeah, you and I do have that strong foundation, and I feel like you can't fill your circle with people that are envious or fill their mouths as much as they can but can never chew.
Whew.
So yeah, like there's a lot of things that crumbled because you can't find the right people with the right intentions, and I feel like that's something that you and I have been able to get right.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, which is why I do want to fill this with the right people, and not people that just want to be a part of it to take as much as they can.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just I had more to say, but then I think someone was gonna come downstairs. I don't know who it was. It might have been my mom, but it threw me off. Sorry, let me let him know that I can't talk.
Okay, cool.
All right. Sorry
All right.
about that.
Yeah. But and the reason why I was asking that, just so everybody know, and plus I mean, I know me, I know me and you, we cool on this subject. But as far as like everything, it's like I believe, in all honesty, that boy, this is a touchy subject, boy. But I believe, what I did see, as far as starting off, was it wasn't. I mean, like it's still amazing, even with its flaws and imperfections, because all men have flaws. You know what I'm saying? All men have flaws. I have flaws. You have flaws. I know I'm not no perfect human being. But something like this, to me, it has to be documented before it may destroy itself, or at the fact of people that represent. Because I don't, I'm in Michigan, but but I honestly prefer, and my brother Station T, by the way, shout out to Station T, my brother, what I'm saying? Crazy, but I personally, feel like I know what you said it, but I feel like I do, if anybody asks me home base right now, I would say Hammond, Indiana, or Northwest Indiana, because you guys have embrace us with open arms, and we're not from there. Like you know how far it is to come all the way.
You're more NWI than the motherfuckers that are actually in the NWI. So that's how I see it. And that's not me trying to be some sort of gatekeeper of you can come in and you can't. That's just me saying my personal NWI, my personal group of people. You don't even live here, and you feel like you're more here than the actual people that are here. And because the actual people that are here feel so far off into space, and the actual people that are here standing on the ground.
Right. And I definitely believe that the strongest, I've said before to you before, but the strongest will remain. And at the same time, we are here to create NWI, Northwest Indiana. We are here to create. We are here to make whatever our passion is and to entitle that, And like I said before, I mean, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna say this: the interview that we're having, the conversation that we're having is it like I'm gonna quote Moyboichipsahoy. They don't like the truth because it don't. Well, I'm quoting myself, but still, they don't like the truth that because it don't shine. And and we are going to represent and at the same time involve ourselves with those creative people. Of course, that act right and all that stuff like that, because This is the movement. This is bigger than us. The passion is bigger than us because the passion creates legacy and creates influence and inspiration. So if you talk about the Synch Era, we got some things in store and plan, you know. And like, and me and Moy have talked. Me and Moy have had our talks, you know what I'm saying, about, you know, different things or whatever. But this is for the movement, Northwest Indiana. It's for the movement. This is bigger than us. It's bigger than me and Moy. This is about the movement, and this is about it. This is something that, you know, that with strong foundation that will last and keep going past beyond our years. And that's something that we're trying to create, you know. And, you know, I say this on my end because, you know, I got something to say too. I know I'm talking, you know, but I got something to say too. You know, if you can't work together, if you can't work together, we stronger together than divided, but can't work together, then you don't know how, you know, because at the end of the day, you're going to need somebody other than yourself. You're going to need somebody. I'm not directed towards one person. I'm directed towards anybody. Facts. Anybody who ever just listened to this podcast today for the first time, you can't do it all by yourself. You're going to need someone help one day. Help like me. Need somebody help like me. You never know when you need somebody help like me. You know, and you know, we have to be able to come together. It's like this show that we doing. This show that we doing. First of all, talk about the first Floral Fever concert.
Oh, well, I don't talk to the other individual that was on it anymore. However, he's very talented, and he's said a lot of nasty things to me that I don't feel were justified. But like I said, he's very talented, and I hope him the best with his endeavors, whether he deserves it or not. But aside from that, it was cool, man. COVID hit. It was one of the like maybe the second show I did after COVID, and it was a live stream show because of the fact that COVID was going on. And you know, I don't know where Floral Fever came from, the name itself. It was just kind of like a cool pairing of words, you know, FF, Floral Fever, just kind of worked out. And yeah, it was it's funny because I didn't think of that show as anything grand. It was a cool show, but it wasn't like the Skeletons Want Me Dead show, or it wasn't like the, you know, it wasn't like an album release show. It wasn't like anything where I'm like, it was just like kind of like a one-off show. It was kind of like, all right, let's just do this because we want to play. And you know, we got some cool footage for it, which is on the Moyboichipsahoy YouTube channel. And
Fire. Fire.
You seem to be the biggest supporter of that specific show, single-handedly. And like I said, I didn't really think much of that show. It was like, whatever, I put it out there. It was cool because it was live streamed, you know, because I guess that was what made it stand out, the fact that it was live streamed. But aside from that, it was just a show to me. It was like, it was cool, but nothing crazy. But then you showed so much praise for it, and you brought up the idea of like, what if there was a Floral Fever 2? And I was like, I don't know, man. I mean, I didn't really have that in mind, but shit, I was like, you know, you find a way to get in my head with good ideas. And every time I talk to you, you always have me brainstorming ideas. And you're probably the blame for a lot of really great things I've done since I've met you. And yeah, so Floral Fever 2, you know, you got in my head as you usually do because you're just like a fucking alien like that. And I was like, all right, well, let's do Floral Fever 2, but only if you're a part of it. And You did your classic Lowell excitement yell, and it was just, it was a plan for a while. It was supposed to be this small little intimate thing, the same way the first one was.
Mm-hmm.
Live streamed, maybe like 10 to 20 people there, nothing big, in a backyard. Really chill, floral, beautiful. And then the skeleton show got canceled, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, it's my birthday show. My birthday's October 8th. I do a show every October 8th because I released a trilogy
Mm-hmm.
of albums called Skeletons Want Me Dead 1, 2, and 3, which aren't on. Sorry, I'm gassy and burping.
It's okay. It's all right.
Which aren't on YouTube anymore, because I used to record my albums through my computer camera, the computer of which that you're seeing my face through right now.
Yeah.
This computer and me go way back.
I've had them days, boy.
Yeah. I had some really shitty recordings, and on top of them being shitty recordings, I didn't edit any of my vocals, so I literally just put the vocals on it as they were, and they sounded muddy and not great. And I released them expecting it to be this grand thing, and then I privated them because I'm like, this sounds like shit.
Yeah.
But I still perform the songs live because I'm like, all right, well, if I'm not gonna have music anywhere for people to consume, I'm gonna make sure I compensate by being very good at performing these songs live.
That's genius. Woo! I didn't even think. Oh, that's genius. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man. I didn't even think of that. That's
well,
crazy.
that's what it was, man. I'm just like, all right, well, I'm not gonna be like someone who has no music out and then is just a mediocre performer, like I'd rather be that guy that is a really great performer and people wished he had music out, So I that was kind of the drive. It's like, if I'm not gonna have any material out, I'm gonna make sure you're gonna remember my performance at least. And it's funny because although I had no music out, people still learned the words just from coming into the shows, which is crazy to me. But I'm getting too indulgent. Basically,
That's okay.
the Skeleton Show is a trilogy. It's like for albums I made called Skeletons Want Me Dead 1, 2, and 3. It's a trilogy attributed to plenty of trilogies that I love, like the Weekend trilogy, which consists of House of Balloons, Thursday, and Echoes of Silence, and then the Evil Dead trilogy, which are my favorite movies ever. The Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness, and then even Tyler the Creator's first 3 albums, which isn't an official trilogy, but people always coincide them with each other, which consists of Bastard, Goblin, and Wolf. Shout out Wolf. And Wolf is my favorite Tyler album. Just put that out there. But so I made a trilogy of albums. I do it every year. I've done it twice already, and it's canceled this year. I don't know when this is gonna come out, but my birthday is October 8th.
Oh, it's coming out fast.
Oh, well, in which case, yeah.
It's coming out fast.
My birthday is October 8th, and I was supposed to do a show, but I moved houses. I don't have the backyard I used to have, so I don't have a way or means of doing the show, because everywhere else either requires a lot of money that I do not have because I work at Staples, and a Staples budget is not very lavish. Yeah, so I just don't have a location. I don't have a good location, at least. And not saying that the Sip Coffee Houses aren't a good location, but this is a big show. Skeleton Show is a big show. And I need to have the room and the time to not work around business hours and be able to not worry if I accidentally destroy chairs or some shit. Yeah, so, I canceled it because you and I were talking about doing Floral Fever too, and we were thinking about when we can do it, and the 9th seemed like a good date for both of us. And I was already on the fence whether to do the Skeleton Show or not, and after we agreed to doing it, I was just like, all right, fuck it, I'll just do this instead. If I do the Skeleton Show, I'm going to stress out to the max trying to put it together, and I don't even know if it's fully going to go through. So I'd rather just cancel it this year or postpone it and get this show going, as this one being my unofficial birthday bash for this year. Then try to just stress the fuck out of myself trying to put together a show that doesn't even seem possible at the moment. So, as far as the skeleton show, next year, hopefully. If not, maybe you'll see it come out in a few months from now.
Exactly.
Really just comes down to if I can find a location for it and if I have the budget to buy the materials for it. And if you don't, I'm not saying that the skeleton shows are over, but the last one was more than I could have expected. It went past my expectations. So yeah, if the last one was the last skeleton show, I'm not mad at it. I don't know if I could have topped it. Yeah, I'm, like I said, too indulgent word vomit.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
But yeah, Floral Fever 2 came out of the pits of it already having been an idea and the skeleton show not going through, and just the concept of, I'll put this in a way that's as obscure as possible. The concept of you and I performing separate sets in a lo-fi sense, and then us leaving the show entirely, and two individuals called the Black Einstein and Hobo Jesus that look just like us but are not
right?
us.
It's
and
crazy.
They sound just like us and they're performing our music,
Man,
but not us.
He stole my drum kit, man. He stole my synthesizers and everything. He took all my equipment.
So yeah, that's kind of the lineup of the show. And also Station T's playing. Shout out Station T.
T.
My girlfriend Ellie's playing.
Ellie, oh my goodness, boy.
Shout out to Ellie.
Shout out to Ellie. Hey.
She's I'm getting cheesy just thinking about her. And yeah, so yeah, Ellie, Station T are playing. We're gonna have some other people play at the beginning. We'll figure that out as it goes. I have somebody in mind, but I can't remember the name. But they're pretty cool. And me and Elle are going to play short, like I said, lo-fi sets, and then we're going to leave the show. We're going to leave the premises entirely. Like I said, two people look just like us, but are not us. Hobo Jesus and the Black Einstein are going to come out and they're going to perform our music, and then they're going to leave after, and we're going to come back and sign some CDs or whatever the fuck. So yeah, just expect that, because the first two sets that me and Lil are going to do are going to be pretty tame, and then Hobo Jesus and the Black Einstein are going to probably set the place on fire.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
definitely.
Hopefully you'll be there. If there's any birthday wish you guys want to, or birthday gift you guys want to give me, just come to the show, man.
Oh
That's
yeah.
all I want. Just come to the show.
Birthday.
Just fill that motherfucker up. Just come to the show the same way you would fill the skeleton show. Fill this one up.
And the last question.
Okay.
The last question. Man, I Love Myself album.
Oh man.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. The texture, the format of how you recorded it, and just it, man, like, whoo, boy, like, there it is, cassette tape. Oh.
There's the deluxe too.
And the deluxe,
yeah.
I gotta cop that deluxe too. I gotta cop that when I get there on that Saturday. I gotta cop that deluxe.
I don't know if I'll have them because I need to buy the materials if I do get them, but I'll just give you my copy and I'll just make myself another copy.
Okay. Hey, I'm gonna give me some more, but just hard merch. But anyway, tell me about that, man. Oh my goodness.
Well, damn, dude. Well, I'll put it like this. None of my albums I ever intended to release, as far as the only album I had prior to that was Live at Hanger House. And Live at Hanger House is just a live album I did within someone's garage. And it was something that I didn't intend to release. I have a bunch of projects that I know the order of which I want to release them up to this date. And the reason why they're not released is a lack
I'm
of
sorry, boy. Can you
availability.
kind of stay still because you kind of phasing out? I'm sorry, but you got to stay still.
Oh,
So it won't be
fine.
fading out, everything. But go ahead, my fault. Go ahead.
Yeah. I put out live at Hanger House. No intention to put it out. I got emailed the recording to it, and it's just like me, a full set of me performing live. And I listened to it. I was like, this is cool. It sounds good. But this isn't the order of what albums I want to put out. And the reason I didn't put them out was, like I said, lack of recording.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, all right, well, no one took videos for this show, and I like to make a collage of videos for each show I do and put it on the YouTube channel so people can see, each show, how it went. But I didn't have any videos of the show. I got like one video, it was like 11 seconds, not worth putting out on the YouTube channel. So I was like, all right, to compensate, I'll just put out this live album. But not even call it an album, just like live at Hanger House. No intention for it to be an album, no intention for there to be CDs. So I put it out, and it was the only form of material I really had out that was recorded, even though it was live, but it was like, sounded better than a phone camera video. So people gravitated towards it. People liked it. When people wanted to listen to my stuff, I was like, well, I got this out. I guess you can listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
And people fucked with it. And yeah, I mean, Live at Hanger House is kind of, it was an unofficial album, and then eventually became an album. And I made CDs, and I'm like, all right, well, if this is going to be my only release, I might as well push it because I have no other music and I have no other means of recording, so I might as well work with what I got. And then I don't even know how much longer after, maybe like I put out I Love Myself, a month ago, 2 months ago? I can't remember.
Right. No, actually, I think it was probably like, it was either a month ago or a month and a half. I don't think it's been out that long, but it's been out. It's been out. Cause I remember when that thing dropped. Like you didn't even tell me. I didn't even know. You just dropped that thing, and like, like I'm not gonna lie, like I just gotta say, like, and then to be able also, hey, hey, letting y'all know, hey, I put together the cassette tape version, so if y'all need y'all's cassette tapes made, just hit me up. I got a nice fee. But anyway, yeah. So to be able to press that on cassette and the texture of it, because this, how you recorded it and how it sounds and the songs placed or how they were placed, it was very iconic to me. And it was just like, you was flowing in your element. Like I've heard Live at Hanger House. I've had that on repeat, Pete, for weeks, days. I double back. Like I've heard, heard it, all this coffee. I'm Moyboichipsahoy fan to the fullest, but I'm
a little diehard fan to the fullest.
And like this come like after Live at Hanger House, because me knowing you, a piece of work is really special to you. And with this coming out after I heard all this, and then some songs, I've heard before, like the songs off 3-song medley, and Star, which is fire, and all that stuff like that. And man, like this something. And then also, hey, like, I'll produce a couple beats, off of that, off of there too. And, how you record on them and everything. Like, it was just all the way right. And it was just like you in your element. It's like, man, like, and then also shout out to the Piss and Blood EP that you just dropped. It's like, man, I'm being honest. Like, I don't ever, and I'm being honest. That look good. Yeah. Like, I feel like Moyboichipsahoy cannot make a bad album. Like, I'm not saying that being biased, but I don't feel like you could, like, okay, yeah, you got your recordings from back where you didn't really like, you didn't really like them. But of course, that's being worked in the mix. But I'll say this, I don't feel like Moyboichipsahoy can make a bad album because every album is gonna have a concept or a feeling or a vibe. I don't feel like you can make a bad album. I don't.
Well, I mean, same to you, man. Same to you. You have a very impeccable discography, and to be able to have a Space EP on my Skeleton Partnership record label is an honor.
Shout out. Oh, man, I appreciate that.
And then, whenever I get Still Bloom, the first EP I ever worked on as a solo, I recorded fully, that's going to go on your record label.
Already know.
But I love myself. The album's called I Love Myself. I love myself so much. Don't you believe me? And there's a album release party of it on YouTube that you can watch. It's like the most recent video on Moyboichipsahoy.
Link in the bio. I'll put all them links in the bio. Go ahead.
Thank you, man. That album was one of desperation. It's something that probably shouldn't have been made, but it was made. No intention of making it. Literally, it's a collection of songs I've already had, either recorded as a rough draft on my phone camera, or just songs like the first 3 songs you recorded when you came out that one time for that show. And a lot of them were like, just taken out of live videos, and just kind of like edited a little bit on Audacity to make it sound a little clearer. That album was a suicide note. And I didn't, I was in a really bad place, and I didn't know if I was going to make it to the next 2 weeks. So it was kind of like the album I wanted to put out as a goodbye. And I didn't tell people that. I made it very obscure. I didn't want it to be like a Facebook post where it's like, hey, I want to kill myself, and then people talk me down from it. I wanted it to be something that I put out and that I knew people were going to overlook, and there was going to be few individuals like yourself that actually would pay attention to it. And then once I killed myself, then people would actually want to go out of their way to listen to it. Because, each artist is bigger when they're dead, I guess.
That's facts.
But I wasn't in a good place when I made that album. And hence the title, hence the sarcasm. And I put those songs together in a way that felt the way I felt. And that album cover, the way I'm drawn on that album cover, my sister drew that. She was drawing on her whiteboard, and she was doing the kind of drawing where you don't look at the whiteboard while you draw it, you just draw it.
Oh, wow.
And she drew me, which was the cover of that. And it was weird how what she drew symbolized the way I felt on the inside and how I looked at myself on the inside, which is just a fucked up version of myself. Very abstract, symbolic. And yeah, I wanted to kill myself while making that album. And I didn't want people to know that I wanted to kill myself. And that's why the album is the way it is, and that's why it transitions the way it does. And that's why it's titled what it's titled. Sorry, I'm like...
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
But it's yeah, that album is my full indulgence. It was hard making that piece. It was hard putting it out. Hard pressing that publish button on that YouTube screen. Because I figured the moment I pressed publish on that was the moment I was setting an expiration date for myself. And it was hard, the fact that it was hard to press publish, but how not hard it was at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I persevered somehow.
Yes, you did.
And I found myself listening to that album a lot, which might sound kind of cocky, I don't know, but I couldn't stop listening to it. Something about it, it brought me to tears a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. At some point, something needs to change. And I found that changed within getting a job, you know, and buying a sound system and playing shows and getting a girlfriend that I adore. And something changed, and it was slow and abrupt at the same time. And I'm here, you know, we're doing this. And I played that album release party. And the amount of love that was in that room. I hugged Mike over and we just cried, man. And I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you something. You know, I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't even say this personally to you, but I'm not gonna lie. I cried because I couldn't come, and I'm being serious because I knew how good it was, and I felt like I needed to be there. You know, now because of my circumstances, you know, you already knew, but at the same time, and you know the talks we didn't have, but that album was you see, that album was a transition, was your release. That album was able, you know, and like I said, because whoo, boy, you got me over here crying. Cause man, I ain't gonna lie, boy. That album had to come out. That album had to come out. That album, I believe that album showed you of something that you didn't think you was able to do. And after that, look at, and I'm being, as we both know, when that album dropped, a lot of people didn't know what it was. They just seen a notification or they just seen something. And after that, it was, you know, it was it. I'm not gonna lie. I even talked to people, you know, we ain't gonna say no name, but I even talked to people and said, hey, you heard Moy new album? That thing fire. Go listen to it. And as you know, as you've seen from the results, people pay attention to it, they viewed it. And like you said, like you told me, at the album release party, it went phenomenal. And they bought that merch. So like I said, I believe you cannot make a bad album. You can criticize yourself. It's gonna be people that say this and that, because you know people like the hype songs, but that will forever be a masterpiece. That will forever. Hold on, give me a second. Let me go get the master cassette tape. You gonna make me go get the master cassette tape? Hold on. Boom. Here it is, right there. Hold on. Right there. Y'all see? Hold on. Put the head. Hold on. Anyway, so listen. This is the master copy. Is it backwards? Hold on. Is it backwards? Can you see it straight, or did I just flip it?
It's a little bit staticky, so I can't fully read it. Plus, I
All
have
right.
bad eyesight.
Well, listen. It's the Moyboichip. This is the master tape. Moyboichips. Moy, I love myself. Master copy. Listen.
Wow.
Only person that's getting a copy or a hold to this will be Moy. Anybody else, y'all not getting it. Y'all not getting it. Y'all not. This is in my archives. I got my archive set up very nicely. When I was putting together those cassette tapes, I knew because I didn't hesitate making them either. You know, as we we did the arrangement. You know, you told me, boom, how many you wanted, the price, boom. You know, and I made those copies like if I was pressed for time, like making them because I really wanted them to get out to you. And it's a great album, man. It's a great album, great, super great, and like I said before, that needed to go out. I love that album. I like the texture of that album. Like a lot of people, they the ones, whoever the critics or whatever are just as far as jaded people to where they'd be like, oh well, this is this album sounds like it was recorded far away. I mean, this song or whatever. Listen, I liked all of it, and I'm not just fan out here, being biased because he's my favorite rapper. No, because I like something different. I like something different. I don't like even doing the same type of music. I will switch it up in a heartbeat. I will switch up in a heartbeat. I started off just, rap, and now I'm on some. I got my own genre, and we got our own genre, and everything like that. But that album right there, and I appreciate you sharing that. I honestly, even if you didn't share about that, I still, however you share, but what you saying can help somebody, can help somebody. And I believe that album, that will go, I would say, because I would never rank your albums. I would rank your albums by a year, but if I had the authority to rank, that would be in probably like your top 5, because I know you're gonna make more, and some is gonna be different. And I like that it is different from the Live at Hanger House and all the other stuff. I like that because I know we both will. We know more is in the tank, more is in the tank, more coming out in the future and everything. But that one right there, I hold that in high regard.
Oh, thank you, man. Really,
yeah.
Of all the albums to be held to that standard, I guess that would be the one. That's the one that really tore me to shreds.
Mm-hmm.
And I just as other artists, like albums that I love, like for example, like I love the band Korn,
Mm-hmm.
but I only like their first like 2 to 3 projects, and the first self-titled Korn album is like the most emotional one. You know what I mean? And I find myself with a lot of artists, I usually like that first or second raw, emotional album.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is like that for me. So for you to like hold it to such high regard is cool, because I know that you're actually listening to it for what it is,
Mm-hmm.
which is always appreciated. So yeah, that album tore me to shreds, man. You could probably see the discomfort from whoever watches this in my face just talking about it. It hurt, man. It tore me to shreds.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, having that room full of people just hugging me and being there for me, not even knowing that the project was a suicide note.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't release that information until after the show, just to show how much I have gratitude towards all those people being there. But just the amount of love, man, it was beautiful. And it's moments like that bring me back into this world and give me stability. And yeah, I mean, I released, a new EP now, the Pissing Blood EP.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, the cool part about the cool part about all these projects, Live at Hanger House, I Love Myself, and the Pissing Bloody P, is all these songs are going to go into actual projects. Like every single song on Live at Hanger House, that's just a mixed bag of songs that are on different projects that I already have in my head that you're going to hear later on, like a more cleaned up version, like on an actual project. I Love Myself, majority of those songs go somewhere within other projects. But the thing with I Love Myself is, yeah, like I wanted it to be a mixed bag of things that are going to be re-released in a better format on an actual project. Not saying, but I Love Myself is, it does have tracks on it that will not be anywhere else but there. For example, the song I Don't Want You, which is it comes after the A Love Letter to Whoever May Need It, which is a spoken word poem. It's the spoken word track with an ambient beat that comes right after that one. It's close to the end of it. I Don't Want You. And by the way, I'm saying names of the tracks. For the actual track listing, I didn't put names for each track. I literally put track 1, track 2, track 3 to kind of keep the obscurity of the whole thing. Because like I said, I wanted this album to be listened to fully. I didn't want it to be something that you can label as by a name. I wanted it to be something where it's so obscure to where you just have to listen to it for what it is. Which is why when I burned CDs of it, I didn't even separate the tracks. I all put it on one track so that you're forced to listen to it all the way through. So yeah, but I mean, I know the names. I'm saying names. I know the names within my head, but you guys don't know the names. But here, I'm gonna do this for anyone who watches this interview. I'm going to read off the track listing from front to end, but I'm gonna give the actual titles.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to follow along, you're forced to watch this interview. This is you're forced to listen to the whole album on CD. But let me pull it up. All right, so track 1 is called Dead Friends and Skeletons. Track 2 is called Basket Case. Track 3 is High School Graduate. Hey, what's up, you guys? Track 4 is an interlude called Dick Suck. Track 5 is produced by Lil Al. It's called Euphoria.
Hey.
Track 6 is an interlude called Conversations with Local Art Bums. 7 is Fairweather Fucks. 8 is Skeleton Medley 3. Or Skeleton 3 Medley. Let's see. Track 9 is just called Dead. 10 is called Jehovah. 11 is also produced by Lil Al. It's called Trickster Studios. Track 12 is a poem I wrote called A Love Letter to Whoever May Need It. 13 is this really ambient thing called I Don't Want You. And then this is there's a last track and then there's a outro. So the last track is called There Is No End. And then it goes into Chaos. And this one doesn't actually have a title.
Well, that sounds like Frank Zappa, boy. I might have to sample that.
But yeah. And there's maybe like, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 7 tracks on the album that are strictly going to be on this album, and the other ones are going on different projects. But yeah, I wanted to keep this album so that yeah, some of them are going to go on other parts, but I wanted to have tracks on here that just strictly go on this one, so you have a reason to keep listening to this one also.
Exactly.
But yeah, man. I mean, Pissing Blood EP,
Yeah.
produced just out, consisting of Pissing Blood 1, 2, and 3, a trilogy that's going to go on a bigger project that's also called Pissing Blood, but it'll be the Pissing Blood LP.
Yeah.
And so far, the EP was recorded by Gavin. So shout out to Gavin 666. And
Gavin.
he's hopefully going to record the rest of my discography so I can get shit out there. And I don't know what point of the interview we're at anymore. I've said a lot.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what I was saying.
I was just about like after you got done with your spiel, like as far as like maybe like in 5 more minutes, I was just going to end it right there. But I mean, if you're ready to end it now, we can end it.
Well, I mean,
anything you want to say? Anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
I want to give a shout out to Star of the Covenant, my brother.
Yeah, Sersky.
I want to give a shout out to Mike Over.
Mike.
I already have. Shout out to Pulp Friction.
Hey, ding. Hey, they need to be on this thing. But go ahead, my fault.
Just I can sit here and spiel names like Rhett Rhapsody. And can't even think.
Dance.
I'm at a loss, but I could sit here and just spill names, but you know who you are. You know if I fuck with you, and I got your fucking back, and I know you got mine. And shout out to the NWI scene that has had my back and that gives me love. And I have an open mic every Sunday from 9 p.m. at Sip Coffee House 2 in Highland. If you're somebody who's watching this and likes the arts and wants to perform for 10 minutes, come out. It's a good time. It's a welcoming crowd, and I hope you can be a part of it. And I want to say that Lowell, you're one of my favorite people.
Oh, man.
And I hope that we can be friends forever. And I hope that we can be brothers forever. And I hope that we can produce Vomit forever. And I just want you to know that I love you.
Oh, man, I love you too, man. I mean, boy, you don't understand how much that means. And I appreciate that. I'm fanning out over here, y'all. I always end up fanning out, but I really honestly and humbly appreciate that. I really do.
Hey man, despite an album being a suicide note, and despite my suicidal ideation and whatever depression or anxiety I may go through and whatever trials and tribulations, your presence in my life makes things better. And to be able to call you every day and just call you my brother and know that you're there for me, despite all that death, suicide, whatever, it's shit like that, you make me want to live forever, bro. I love you, man. I really do.
Yeah, I love you too, man. Like, for real, man. Like, I appreciate that.
And shout out Skeleton Partnership and shout out Synch Era. Woo!
Synch Era. Yeah. All right, y'all. That was the first, man. I gotta say before the first episode is golden already. It's golden. Oh my goodness. It is golden. Like, you can't ask for a best first episode. You can't ask for a best first episode. Oh my goodness.
I'm honored.
Man, I'm honored. And hey, everybody, next episode coming soon. It's the Synch Era Podcast, Synch Network. And we out of here.